Part 19. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 181. Chapter 181. It's okay with me, don't be angry. No matter what kind of person that woman is, since ASI likes her and she is married to ASI, let's just be accommodating. Snort. Okay, please keep your voice down, I won't hear you until ACI comes. At this moment, Chiao Mian, who was standing outside the door and heard all the conversations of several people, said. Should she leave quietly? This is too embarrassing. What a coincidence that she heard this. It sounded like several people in the box had some criticisms of her, thinking she was too timid and weak, and their words showed that they didn't like her that much. Especially the man with a gorgeous-sounding voice seemed to have the biggest objection. Just now Yan Shaoqing called him forth. So, he is the eccentric man that Mo Yesi mentioned before? Although she hasn't met the man yet, Chiao Mian already had a premonition that this man might not be so easy to get along with. She heard all the conversation inside, and naturally the man next to her also heard it. Chiao Mian turned her head and saw Mo Yesi's thick black eyebrows furrowed tightly, his face darkened, and his thin lips pursed tightly, with a faint hint of anger. She quickly tugged on his sleeve. When the man lowered his head and looked towards her, she shook her head gently at him and whispered, "It's okay with me, don't be angry. I believe none of your friends are. Malice, they just haven't seen me yet and don't know me." Chiao Mian didn't want Mo Yesi to have conflicts with his friends because of her. The group of people inside had a bad impression of her. If he had another conflict with them because of her, they would probably really hate her. This is not what she wants to see. Mo Yesi frowned and stared at her for a while, his dark eyes narrowed, probably taking into account her worries, the expression on his face softened a little. But his expression was still not good. The hand that held hers tightened, and her fingers were intertwined. After looking at each other for a moment, he softly said and reached out to push open the door. As soon as the door was pushed open, the sounds in the box suddenly disappeared. The people inside all turned their heads and looked towards them. For a moment, Chiao Mian felt like a monkey locked in a zoo. Several curious or inquiring eyes fell on her. She felt a little reserved all of a sudden. Fortunately, Mo Yesi accompanied her, which somewhat avoided any embarrassment. Sitting directly opposite Chiao Mian was a man wearing a dark purple shirt. The man wore a black diamond earring on one ear. His slightly long hair was tied up, and he had thin bangs on his forehead, covering half of his eyebrows. He has a very flamboyant peach-shaped face, and his facial features can be called beautiful. He is more delicate and beautiful than many women. The slender peach blossom eyes are a bit unruly and evil, giving people the impression of a playboy. Beside the man in purple sat a man in white clothes and white trousers. He is also a very handsome and outstanding-looking man. Compared to the man in purple, he has a bit more of a feminine, dark, and evil look. The man in white had an icy aura all over his body. When she saw him for the first time, Chiao Mian couldn't help but shudder, and even got goosebumps all over her body. She thought of an animal that scared her. Snake. The man in white gave her the feeling of a cold-blooded snake with no temperature. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 182. Chapter 182. Why doesn't he have a tutor? Before Chiao Mian had time to look at Shenro, she saw the man in purple eyes widened and he stood up suddenly. The man's slender peach blossom eyes looked straight at the hands held tightly by her and Mo Yesi, his eyes widened with a look of disbelief on his face. Second brother, is this my sister-in-law? Yan Shaoqing felt as if 10,000 grass and mud horses were galloping past in his heart. At this moment, the only word can express his current mood. He knew that his sister-in-law was still a student and not very old. But Yan Xiaoqing finished staring at the hands held by the two of them, and when his eyes fell on Jiao Mianmian's fair face that was still tender and green, he felt all kinds of feelings in his heart. His sister-in-law is a bit too young. Are you an adult? This face looks like that of a high school student aged 16 or 17, so some people may believe it. Second brother, isn't he such a beast that he touched a minor? That is a real beast. Even though they are good friends who grew up wearing crotchless pants together, he still firmly resists this kind of beastly behavior. Looking at Yan Xiaoqing's eyes that were still exploring Jiao Mianmian, Mo Yesi's eyes darkened, and he stretched out his hand to possessively wrap his arms around the waist of the little woman next to him. The man looked at Yan Xiaoqing with a cold gaze, implying a warning. Have you seen enough? Have you said hello to your sister-in-law? I don't have any tutoring. Yan Xiaoqing. Why doesn't he have a tutor? Also, why did he feel that the way his second brother looked at him just now was a bit dangerous? It's like treating him as a love rival. Looking at the possessive expression on his second brother's face, Yan Xiaoqing twitched the corners of his mouth and quickly looked away to save his life. Ahem, sister-in-law. Hello. Yan Xiaoqing raised the corners of his lips and stretched out a hand towards Jiao Mianmian. My name is Yan Xiaoqing, and I am the second brother's good brother. We used to live together in a compound. Mo Yesi and Yan Xiaoqing's grandfathers were both soldiers. When they were young, they both lived in the military compound for several years. Hello, my name is Jiao Mianmian. Yan Xiaoqing still behaved very friendly and approachable, and Jiao Mianmian still had a good impression of him. She also extended a hand to him. Yan Xiaoqing had just grasped it, but before he could fully touch Jiao Mianmian's hand, a long, slender, white hand came across to block him. Yan Xiaoqing. Damn it, do you want this? Isn't it just a matter of shaking hands? He actually blocked it? Second brother's possessiveness is a bit too perverted. Made him look like a pervert who took advantage of others. Mo Yesi ignored his accusing and dissatisfied gaze and held Jiao Mianmian's tender little hand in his palm. Yan-san is the third eldest among us. From now on, just call him Yan-san like me. After finishing speaking, he went on to introduce the other two people in the box. That is the fourth son Gongzili. He is the fourth among us. You can call him Xiaosi. Mongzili raised his head with a bit of dissatisfaction. Let a yellow-haired girl who looks underage call him Xiaosi? He couldn't accept it. He frowned and wanted to say something, but Shenro beside him gently pulled his arm. Gongzili pursed his lips and turned his head to the side. Hello, Mian, my name is Shenro. The woman sitting next to Gongzili stood up and took the initiative to greet Jiao Mian. Nice to meet you. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 183. Chapter 183. Is Shenro hostile to her? Before Jiao Mian had time to look at Shenro, she saw the man in purple eyes widened and he stood up suddenly. The man's slender peach blossom eyes looked straight at the hands held tightly by her and Mo Yesi. His eyes widened with a look of disbelief on his face. Second brother, is this my sister-in-law? Yan Xiaoqing felt as if 10,000 alpacas were rushing past in his heart. At this moment, the only word hum can express his current mood. He knew that his sister-in-law was still a student and not very old. But Yan Xiaoqing finished staring at the hands held by the two of them, and when his eyes fell on Jiao Mianmian's fair and green face, he felt all kinds of feelings in his heart. His sister-in-law is a bit too young. This face looks like that of a high school student aged 16 or 17, so some people may believe it. Looking at Yan Xiaoqing's eyes that were still exploring Jiao Mianmian, Mo Yesi's eyes darkened, and he stretched out his hand to possessively wrap his arms around the waist of the little woman next to him. The man looked at Yan Shaoqing with a cold gaze, implying a warning. Have you seen enough? Have you said hello to your sister-in-law? I don't have any tutoring. Yan Shaoqing. Why doesn't he have a tutor? Also, why did he feel that the way his second brother looked at him just now was a bit dangerous? It's like treating him as a love rival. Yan Shaoqing's mouth twitched, and he quickly looked away to save his life. Ahem, sister-in-law, hello. Yan Shaoqing raised the corners of his lips and stretched out a hand towards Jiao Mian. My name is Yan Shaoqing, and I am the second brother's good brother. We used to live together in a compound. Mo Yesi and Yan Shaoqing's grandfathers were both soldiers. When they were young, they both lived in the military compound for several years. Hello, my name is Jiao Mian. Yan Shaoqing still behaved very friendly and approachable, and Jiao Mian still had a good impression of him. She also extended a hand to him. Yan Shaoqing had just grasped it, but before he could fully touch Jiao Mian's hand, a long, slender, white hand came across to block him. Yan Shaoqing. Damn it, do you want this? Isn't it just a matter of shaking hands? He actually blocked it? Second brother's possessiveness is a bit too perverted. Made him look like a pervert who took advantage of others. Mo Yesi ignored his accusing and dissatisfied gaze and held Jiao Mian's little hand in his palm. Yan-san is the third eldest among us. From now on, just call him Yan-san like me. After finishing speaking, he went on to introduce the other two people in the box. That is the fourth son Gong Zili. He is the fourth among us. You can call him Xiasi. Mong Zili raised his head with a bit of dissatisfaction. Let a yellow-haired girl who looks underage call him Xiasi? He couldn't accept it. He frowned and wanted to say something, but Shenro beside him gently pulled his arm. Gong Zili pursed his lips and turned his head to the side. Hello, Mian, my name is Shenro. The woman sitting next to Gong Zili stood up and took the initiative to greet Jiao Mian. Nice to meet you. Our group and ASI are all very good friends, and ASI and I also grew up together. I heard you are getting married. I wish you a happy wedding. While Shenro was speaking, she secretly looked at Jiao Mian. Looking at it, I felt a little uncomfortable. Yan Shaoqing told her that the other party was a student girl, but he did not tell her that this girl was so beautiful. Even though the face in front of you looks a little childish, the delicate and beautiful facial features are very eye-catching. Not to mention, this girl's skin is as white as snow, and her whole body is glowing when you look at it. The place where Shenro stayed was very sunny and the ultraviolet rays were particularly strong. Even though she wears sunscreen every day and doesn't get much tan, she looks a lot darker compared to the snowball-like girl in front of her. The girl has a small face, the size of a palm, and long, shiny black shawl hair. Her temperament is clean and ethereal. Shenro is good-looking, comes from a good background, and has a high degree of education. There is no girl in the circle around her who can compare with her. This resulted in her being arrogant and rarely taking anyone into consideration. But the girl named Jiao Mian in front of me. For the first time in her life, Shenro felt a crisis and a hint of jealousy. She had to admit that no matter what the other person's background was, he could not lose to her in appearance. Even, a little prettier than her. The various emotions between girls are very subtle. Jiao Mian almost immediately felt a hint of hostility in Shenro's eyes. She couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. Shenro is hostile to her? Where does this hostility come from? Hello, Miss Shen. Jiao Mian shook her hand politely. When she stretched out her hand, she felt Shenro glance at her hand. The next second, the hostility in Shenro's eyes faded a lot. You don't have to be so open-minded. Shenro raised the corners of her lips and said in a friendly tone, you are Asi's wife and our good friend. You can call me by my name, or you can call me Rura. As Shenro spoke, she glanced at her other hand, and then the smile on her lips deepened. Chiao Mian also looked down at her gaze, with a trace of doubt in her eyes. She didn't know what Shenro was looking at. Asterisk. After taking a seat, the waiter brought over the menu. Today is to greet Shenro, so Shenro first looked at the menu and then ordered a few dishes. After she finished ordering, she handed the menu back to the waiter, raised her head and smiled at Mo Yesi, and said, "ACI, I ordered your dishes for you. We haven't seen each other for only a year, so your taste should be different change." I don't know if it's Jiao Mianmian's illusion. She always felt that Shenro deliberately revealed her close relationship with Mo Yesi in her words. Women's intuition is very accurate. Mo Yesi raised his head and looked at her. Shenro had a charming smile on her lips and held her chin with one hand, as if she was talking casually. "I still remember when you used to go to my house, my mother would make a fish head with chopped peppers every time. She say you like to eat this. Originally I didn't like this dish at first, but after eating it with you so many times, I actually thought it tasted good. I missed this dish very much when I was abroad. I thought that if I came back to China, I would have to take you out to have a meal with me." At this point, she smiled slightly. "I don't know how good this restaurant's chopped pepper fish head is." End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 184. Chapter 184, he had never been like this before. Yan Shaoqing, who was sitting next to her, changed his face slightly and frowned. Gong Zili pursed his lips, put down the wine glass with a bang, stood up and said coldly, "I'm going to the bathroom." After saying that, he turned around and walked out of the box quickly. Yan Shaoqing looked at Shenro, then at Mo Yesi and Chiao Mian, his brows furrowed even more. If it was just Chiao Mian's guess just now, after Shenro said these words, she is now sure that her guess is correct. Shenro did it on purpose. Chiao Mian slowly realized what was going on with Shenro's initial hostility towards her. She likes Mo Yesi? Other than this reason, she couldn't think of any other reason. But Mo Yesi seems to be unaware? Chiao Mian subconsciously glanced at the person next to her, but saw Mo Yesi also turning his head to look at her. Their eyes met, a gentle smile appeared on his lips. He took her hand and asked softly, "Are you hungry? Is there anything you want to eat?" "I." Without waiting for Chiao Mian to answer, he asked the waiter to bring him the menu. "Order some of your favorite dishes." Mo Yesi thrust the menu into her hand. "It's Yan San's treat tonight, so don't be polite to him and order the more expensive ones." Yan Shaoqing. Sure enough, he had a wife and forgot about his brothers. A guy who puts more emphasis on than friends. Chiao Mian. Mo Yesi looked at her dazed look, then stretched out his hand to rub the top of her head, and said in a doting tone, "Help me order some too." Chiao Mian glanced at Shenro, whose face was a little blue across from her, bit her lip and whispered, "Didn't Shenro order it for you? I don't know what you like to eat." Why does she think Mo Yesi did it on purpose? Shenro said so much, but it was okay if he didn't reply. Now I even ask her to help order food. Isn't this a deliberate slap in Shenro's face? Mo Yesi smiled, "I will eat whatever you order. I like everything you order." She felt that Shenro's face turned even greener as soon as Mo Yesi said these words. This is not over yet. After Mo Yesi finished talking to her, he turned to look at Shenro and replied calmly, "People change. I don't like to eat fish heads with chopped peppers anymore." Chiao Mian. Does he want to make Shenro angry to death? It's too disrespectful to others. Aren't we good friends who have been playing together since childhood? Is this really good? Yes, really. I thought, you still like to eat. Shenro dug her nails into her palms, and the smile on her lips became as stiff as possible. How could she not feel Mo Yesie's deliberate defense of Xiao Mian? At this moment, Shenro felt particularly aggrieved and sad. She knows Mo Yesie. He has never been a person who considers other people's feelings and deliberately defends others. He is cold by nature, and even with friends like them, he will not be too close. She has known him for more than 20 years, and she only has a little more so-called special rights than other women. But this special right is nothing compared to the woman next to him. He doesn't like being touched by women and will have a physical aversion to women's approach. However, Xiao Mian could touch him. He never deliberately defends anyone, but just now, he defended Xiao Mian. Because of the woman he had known for a short time, he embarrassed her in public. He had never been like this before. Why does his whole person change as soon as he gets married? Thank you for the brave man without fear, 153-51, Yining, a troubled little woman, 182-76 for the reward. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 185. Chapter 185. It's better for the two of them to meet less often. Ahem, that, sister-in-law, second brother is right, just order whatever you like, I'll treat you. Seeing that the atmosphere on the table was a bit stiff, Yan Shaoqing immediately came out to liven up the atmosphere and said with a smile, everything. If you order something expensive, don't look at the cheap one. If you order something cheap, you won't give me Yan Shaoqing face. Xiao Mian. She also knew that Yan Shaoqing was trying to smooth things over, so she cooperated and said, well, ha ha ha, I won't be polite then. After saying that, he took the menu and placed his head down to order silently. She ordered a few dishes at random. After ordering, Mo Yesie took them over, looked at them, added an ice cream on top, and said to her with a smile, don't you like ice cream? You have to eat one after every meal? Can it be strawberry flavored? Xiao Mian, okay. Shenro, who was sitting opposite the two of them, bit her lips tightly. Her heart hurt as if she was being cut by a knife, and there was a trace of sourness in her eyes. Sorry. She took a deep breath and stood up suddenly, I'm going to the bathroom. After saying that, he pushed open the dining chair and walked out in a hurry. Yan Shaoqing looked at her hurried away figure and sighed secretly in his heart. I'm just afraid that some things will go bad in the future. In the past, Mo Yesie was cold to every woman. Even if he didn't like Shenro wouldn't be too sad. But now, he is married, has a wife, and seems to dote on his wife. For Shenro, who has been secretly in love with him for more than 10 years, this is undoubtedly a stab in the heart. Yan Shaoqing felt that it would be best for the two of them to meet less in the future. Otherwise, Shenro will only feel more and more uncomfortable. Asterisk. Shenro burst into tears as she walked out of the box. Before this, she had hoped that Mo Yesie didn't like that girl very much. He was with her only because he would not have an allergic reaction to her. Just now, when she saw that Xiao Mian didn't even have a ring on her hand, she confirmed her idea. She was happy about this for a while. As long as Mo Yesie doesn't like that woman, even if they get married, it doesn't matter. There are many marriages of interest among wealthy families. There are a few of them because they really like to be together. She might marry a man she doesn't like in the future. If he doesn't like Xiao Mian, he will not touch her, and his marriage with her will not last long. As long as he doesn't like Xiao Mian, everything is not too late. But just now, his various defenses and the tenderness and doting in his eyes when he looked at Xiao Mian were not signs of dislike for her. Just the opposite. Mo Yesie would only do that when he likes and cares about someone. Shenro could not accept this fact. She can accept Mo Yesie marrying another woman, but she cannot accept that his heart also belongs to another woman. How can you do this? She has been by his side for more than 20 years. If he wants to like someone, the person he likes should be her. A woman he has only known for a short time is nothing. Rura. A slightly surprised voice sounded in her ears. Shenro raised her head and looked at the man who called her with tears in her eyes. Seeing her cry, the man not far away was startled again, and his face instantly darkened. He walked quickly towards Shenro, walked up to her, frowned and said, "What's wrong with you?" "I'm fine." Shenro stretched out her hand to wipe her tears, forced a smile on her lips, and said with a forced smile, "I accidentally got something in my eyes, which makes me feel a little uncomfortable." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 186. Chapter 186. Let me beg you. Mong Zili stared at her with a serious face for a while. Who bullied you? Was it ACI, or the woman he brought? What did they do to you? It has nothing to do with them. Shenro bit her lip. Don't make wild guesses, I'm really fine. Leave me alone, go in and talk to ACI and the others. After saying that, Shenro was about to leave. You come in with me. Gong Zili stretched out his hand to hold her, his soft eyes narrowed, and a sneer came from his lips. I want to ask ACI if that woman is more important than our friends. With that said, he pulled Shenro into the box. Shenro's expression changed and she struggled hurriedly. Zili, let me go and listen to me. Things are really not what you think. Please don't make trouble, okay? You cried when you were bullied, and you still helped him speak up. Gong Zili looked down at her with a gloomy expression. Do you like him that much? Shenro was startled and stared at him blankly for a few seconds before tears fell out with a pop. Rura, you. Gong Zili stopped. Zili, please let me beg you. Shenro begged him with red eyes. I just returned to China, and I don't want to cause so many troubles as soon as I come back. I just want everyone to sit together and have a meal happily. Just for my sake, please don't make trouble. As soon as she finished speaking, another tear fell on her face. Gong Zili's face was gloomy, his lips were pursed, and he clenched his fist tightly. Shenro stretched out her hand again and gently pulled his arm, and her voice was soft. Zili, please. Half a while. Gong Zili nodded reluctantly. He said coldly, I can promise you. However, you have to tell me why you are crying. Who made you cry? This. Shenro's eyes flashed, she bit her lip and said nothing, looking embarrassed. Gong Zili waited for a while, and before she could answer, he sneered and said, Okay, you don't need to say anything, I know it all in my heart. Zili, don't think nonsense. In fact, no one bullied me. It was me who thought of some unhappy things, so I. Shenro raised the corners of her lips, but her smile was bitter. It has nothing to do with anyone. You go in, I'll go to the bathroom. After saying this, Shenro turned around and left quickly. Gong Zili stood there, his face darkened, looking thoughtful. Asterisk. While eating. As the only person in the group who was not familiar with the others, Chiao Mian spent most of his time eating. She will never take the initiative to talk to anyone when she is not needed to talk. When a group of friends who have grown up together gather together, there will naturally be endless topics to talk about. Most of the time, Yan Xiaoqing was the one looking for topics, and the others would follow suit and chat a few words. Yan Xiaoqing is a person with a very active and unrestrained personality. With him around, you don't have to worry about being left alone. He can basically talk from morning to night, and the topics he talks about are different. So the atmosphere at the dinner table has always been lively. Among the group of people, Mo Yesi and Gong Zili are the least talkative. Others say 10 sentences and they occasionally reply with 1 sentence. But Mo Yesi only talked less to other people, and he still talked a lot to Jiao Mian. From time to time he would take the initiative to talk to her. She is also very good at taking care of her emotions. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 187. Chapter 187. How did she quit willingly? Knowing that she has a shy personality, she would probably feel a little uncomfortable meeting her friend for the first time today. Basically, every few minutes, he would bring her some food, pour her some drinks, or chat with her. A sentence or something. What Jiao Mian ate was almost all the food he put in his bowl. His careful and considerate behavior made Yan Xiaoqing sigh again. Tusk, tusk, if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it. Tell me, when has my second brother ever been so considerate and caring to someone? He turned around and asked Gong Zili, fourth brother, you and your second brother have been good brothers for so many years. Has he ever brought you food? Gong Zili glanced at him coldly. Yan Xiaoqing didn't wait for his answer, stretched out his hand to touch his nose, and said with a smile, anyway, I have never been treated like this. Sister-in-law, this is your only treatment. You don't know that our second brother is what a conceited man, he probably doesn't care about anyone but himself. But now, he has you again in his eyes. Sister-in-law, we brothers are all envious of you. Miss Shen, don't you think so? You didn't get such treatment when you were a child, right? Second brother, did I bring you food? Yan Xiaoqing did this on purpose. He wanted Shenro to see the facts clearly and stop having those inappropriate thoughts. Because he knows Mo Yesi too well. If Shenro can adjust her mentality in time and treat Mo Yesi as a true friend or brother, the friendship between them can still be maintained. If she still has those thoughts, I'm afraid. Having been friends for so many years, Yan Xiaoqing doesn't want to see bad things happen. Shenro tightened her fingers on the wine glass and raised her head to look at Yan Xiaoqing. There was a hint of anger in her eyes. Yan Xiaoqing looked directly at her, curling his lips and smiling, right, you have never received such treatment. Fortunately, the second brother always said that you are just like his own sister, but he didn't treat his own sister like this. It's better. Alas, the second brother is a typical family friend. Yes, that's right. Shenro gritted her teeth and said with a stiff smile. How could she not know what Yan Xiaoqing was thinking? However, she has liked Mo Yesi for 20 years. How can this feeling be something that can be put down just by letting it go? Why should she let it go? She was the one who met Mo Yesi first, and in terms of feelings, it was her and Mo Yesi who had a deeper relationship. She can no longer tolerate anyone else except him. She had thought that if Mo Yesi never got married, then she would never get married either. She will use this method to silently accompany him throughout his life. She knew very well in her heart that she could never fall in love with anyone else. All her time, all her feelings, all her sincerity were given to him. How could she quit willingly under such circumstances? Jiao Mian, who had been eating silently, was suddenly called by name. She raised her head and showed an awkward yet polite smile to Yan Xiaoqing. Really? Of course, Yan Xiaoqing smiled. Sister-in-law, you don't think that the second brother is so considerate to everyone? Let me tell you, apart from you, I have never seen the second brother be so careful and gentle to anyone. Yes, really. He also increased his volume at the end and emphasized it specially. He has never been so considerate to Aunt Mo. Aunt Mo is not here today, otherwise she would definitely be jealous if she saw it. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 188. Chapter 188. His second brother is jealous. Eat your food, there are so many things, but I can't stop your mouth. As soon as Yan Xiaoqing finished speaking, he was kicked. Mo Yesi kicked him on the calf, and the force was unambiguous. Wow, second brother, you are so gentle to your own woman, but you are so cruel to your brothers. The difference in your treatment is too obvious, Yan Xiaoqing screamed in pain. That grinning look really has no image at all. Qiao Mian burst into laughter. Her smile made Yan Xiaoqing's eyes wide open. The man who just now was grinning and complaining about the pain was now staring blankly at Qiao Mian, as if he was stunned. Yan Xiaoqing suddenly felt that he could understand why his second brother fell in love with this young sister-in-law. Wow, my sister-in-law looks so pretty when she smiles. There are actually dimples. God knows how much he likes girls with dimples. If he adds 2 little tiger teeth, it won't be too cute, okay. Very few people know that the young master of the Yan family, who claims to like beauties, is actually an out-and-out control. What he likes most is not beautiful and women, but cute little Lolita. If it was a girl with big eyes, a small mouth, white and tender skin, dimples and small tiger teeth, a ponytail and a height of about 1.56 meters, she could kill him. It will confuse him to no end. Although Qiao Mianmian's height does not match that of little Lolita, and her appearance does not quite match her, when she smiles, 2 shallow pear dimples appear at the corners of her mouth. At that moment, Yan Xiaoqing seemed to see his first love. Having a pounding feeling. Wow, second brother, why did you kick me again, it hurt so much. He was looking at it in fascination, and the pain coming from his calf made him almost jump. This time, Mo Yesi kicked harder and harder. His kick almost knocked him to the ground. Yan Xiaoqing rubbed his calf bones and turned his head with tears in his eyes. Mo Yesi looked at him expressionlessly, if you keep looking around with those eyes, I'll dig them out. Yan Xiaoqing. Just because he stared at his sister-in-law a few times just now. So his second brother is jealous. Why didn't he realize before that his second brother was a jealous person? Across the way, the wine glass in Shenrou's hand was almost crushed. She suddenly took a deep breath, kept a decent smile on her face, and asked in a casual tone, when are you and Mian going to hold a wedding? I can make time in advance. Cough cough cough. Qiao Mian just took a sip of juice and was choked so much that she kept coughing. Okay, what about a wedding? She had never thought about holding a wedding at all. If a wedding is held, wouldn't it be completely public? Drink slowly, why are you choking? Mo Yesi put a hand on her back and patted her gently. When she felt better, he replied to Shenrou, look at Mian, what did she say? Whenever I listen to her. Such an answer made Shenrou's face change instantly. She gritted her teeth and said, Aunt Mo and Uncle Mo didn't rush you. Mo Yesi slowly raised his head. When Shenrou looked at Shenrou with her dark eyes, Shenrou instantly felt a sense of panic that he had seen through her. Before he could say anything, she explained in a panic, I mean, you are all married. Uncle Mo and Aunt Mo must hope that you will hold the wedding as soon as possible. Thank you to the novice tribe Brave No Fear, 182.55, Yangquan, Xinyu, 136.91, 139.67.61, 187.77 for the reward, okay. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 189. Chapter 189. Feed me. Mo Yesi looked at her for a few seconds and curled his lips. They don't know about the marriage yet. What? Shenrou pretended to be surprised. Didn't you tell them? It's such a big thing, how could you? Mian is not mentally prepared yet. Mo Yesi turned his head, glanced at the girl sitting next to him, reached out to touch Chiao Mianmian's head, and said in a soft voice, "Whenever she is ready, I will take her home. Before this, if she doesn't want to go to my house, we won't go." His tone was not particularly gentle, but one could hear a hint of imperceptible pampering and indulgence. His meaning is obvious. In everything, he respects Chiao Mianmian's decision. Whatever she wants, so be it. For a man like Mo Yesi, how much does he have to like someone to pamper her like this? Especially, he has always been a person who is accustomed to doing things his own way. It was always others who accommodated him, so there was no way for him to accommodate others. Not to mention Shenro, even Yan Shaoqing and Gong Zili had expressions of surprise on their faces after hearing what he said. Shenro asked this question because she thought Mo Yesi didn't want to take Chiao Mian back to the Shen family yet. She wanted Chiao Mian to know this. But Mo Yesi's answer was undoubtedly a slap on her face, twice hard. Yes, really, Shenro bit her lips, and her hands hanging by her sides were trembling. Yeah, Mo Yesi just responded lightly. At this time, the waiter brought an after-dinner ice cream. This is what he ordered for Chiao Mian. Mo Yesi reached out to take it and handed it to Chiao Mian. "Don't eat too much. Be careful and you may feel upset in your stomach." Chiao Mian. She wanted to say, "Mr. Mo, please stop taking care of me like this. The pressure is really great." Ever since she saw that Shenro liked Mo Yesi, she felt a lot of pressure. How can she feel less stressed if she sits at the same table to eat with a woman who regards her as a love rival? But Mo Yesi still showed all kinds of care for her, and Chiao Mian could feel Shenro looking at her with a knife in her eyes. Just like now, she felt Shenro's sharp gaze again. She took the ice cream and had just taken a bite when she heard the man next to her smile and ask, "Is it delicious?" Chiao Mian swallowed the ice cream and licked her lips. "It's quite delicious. How can the food made in such a high-end place not be delicious?" Yeah, Mo Yesi nodded, "I'll try some too." Chiao Mian. You want to taste it?" She raised her head and looked at him. Mo Yesi raised his eyebrows, "No. Sure. It's just that he said before that he didn't like eating these things. She hasn't seen him eat it either." "Then let me have a taste," Mo Yesi said again. Although Chiao Mian didn't know why he was on a whim, she still handed him the spoon. "Who knows?" Mo Yesi didn't answer. The man's thin lips were slightly raised, and he stared at her seductively. "Feed me." Cough cough cough. The red wine Yan Shaoqing just drank spit out. Gong Zili was sitting next to him and was sprayed all over by him. His white shirt was immediately stained with purple red. Gong Zili's face turned dark instantly, and he looked at him murderously. "Ahem, fourth brother, I didn't mean it." End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 190. Chapter 190. I'll send Rura back. Yan Shaoqing's face turned red, and his eyes were full of tears from coughing. He was panting and whispered, "But don't you find it scary? Look at the way my second brother looks, like he's really possessed same. Can you believe that he is still the second brother we know? What the is ice cream? I've been playing with him ever since he wore crotchless pants. But I've never seen him eat it. He clearly said he doesn't like desserts." Every time Yan Shaoqing said something, Shenro's face became uglier. By the time he finished speaking, Shenro's lips were bitten with a mark, and even the smile that she maintained at the beginning could no longer be stretched. Yes, Mo Yesi never eats sweets. She had made desserts for him before, but he didn't taste them and told her directly that he didn't like them. Also asked her not to do it again in the future. But just now, he said he wanted to eat ice cream. Just because Chiao Mian ordered that ice cream, just because Chiao Mian likes to eat it, he loves Wajiwu and wants to eat it too. Deep jealousy surged into her heart like a tide. She put the wine glass in her hand on the table with a bang and stood up suddenly. Her behavior made everyone else a little surprised. Yan Shaoqing frowned and looked over, worry appearing on his face, fearing that she would do something irrational if she was stimulated. He called Shen Ro with a reminder, "Ro Ro." Mo Yesi narrowed his eyes and raised his head to look at her. "I am a little uncomfortable." Shen Ro took a deep breath, suppressed the abnormal emotions in her heart, tried her best to regain her sense, and forced an unnatural smile from the corner of her lips. "I want to go home first. I will treat you well another day." Uncomfortable, Yan Shaoqing rolled his eyes and said immediately, "Is the jet lag still there? Then go back and rest early. We are not outsiders anyway, so we can just pick a time to get together another day." In this case, it would be better for Shenro to leave. Otherwise, what if she can't hold herself together for a while and something happens? Just when Shenro said she was going back, Gong Zili also stood up. He put his hands into his trouser pockets and said softly, "I'll take Rura back." "Fourth brother, are you leaving too?" Yan Shaoqing frowned. "You've all left. If I stay here alone, won't I become a light bulb?" No one paid any attention to him. Mo Yesi looked at Shenro for a while, nodded and said, "Since you feel uncomfortable, go back early." Shenro's nose suddenly felt a little sore. He didn't even ask her what was wrong with her. Now, can he only see Chiao Mian Mian in his eyes? "Well, then I'm leaving." She held back the sour tears in her eyes and slowly turned around. "Correct." As if she thought of something, she stopped again and took out a small box from her bag. She handed the box to Mo Yesi. "This is the gift I brought to you. I have already given Zili and Shaoqing's gifts to them." Mo Yesi hesitated for a moment, then reached out to take it. "Thank you." This thank you made Shenro's nose even more sore. A self-deprecating smile appeared on the corner of her li.